Okay, did not see that coming. I was just holding the piece and it just did that. It's not as strong as it looks. The other one came out okay. Let me see if I can fix this. Well, hello, Glue Troopers. Max of Max's Models here. And as many of you had noted, I had just done my movie review on the movie Countdown with Robert Duvall and James Caan. And of course, Robert Duvall just passed away at the age of 95. So I thought I would just dedicate this particular video to him, since he, created so many indelible characters in cinema history, some of which are related to the things we do. And speaking of movies and television, I was working on the Star Trek shuttles today. I did shoot a little video while I was out there. I'll run it in, but I did have a particular mishap with the front plate that has the windows in it before I put the windows in. Very delicate piece. In fact, let me just show you what happened and then, instead of talking about it. Okay, did not see that coming. I was just holding the piece and it just did that. It's not as strong as it looks. The other one came out okay. Let me see if I can fix this. All right, I got it all clamped up, and I'll just leave that overnight to harden with the canopy glue to hold it in place. Maybe tomorrow I'll go over it with some CA or resin or something. Fortunately, one of these is supposed to be like a studio prop. The other is supposed to be like a real one, so I guess this is going to be the one that's going to be the studio prop. Okay, I have my first minor issue with the kit. Here we have the clear part going into the ceiling on top, and then it's sitting down. But that means that the parts, this part that I pre-painted, I'd gotten the wrong side, because it's the side with the injection pin marks that you'll see. It'll go face down. We look at the edges and we can see they're stepped, which is how they mate. And we also have grooves cut here that fit there. So I know it's in the right way, but since as per the instructions, I already had this piece mounted, I went ahead and was able to file down and get the clear part to go in from the top. Although, to be honest, I don't really think it's going to matter much. If you want to light it, you're definitely better to put the glass in, the clear part in from the bottom, to give you a little bit more room for your SMDs or lights. As you can tell, I've used canopy glue to hold it in place. So I'm going to give that a long time to cure, because the canopy glue dries kind of slow. So that happened. It pretty much looks like it's about 95% repaired now. Unfortunately, the clamps left some residue on the window, which I'm very hesitant to put any pressure on cleaning, although I have tidied it up some. I did run into one problem, and this is the first, call it, serious issue I've had with the kit so far with the shuttlecraft, and that is the lower hull, which is one nice big beautiful piece. You've got the two upper side walls that sit right down into it, but the receiving holes in the bottom were not big enough for the pins that were protruding from the upper wall section. So I had to go in with a Dremel and bore them out a little bit. A super easy quick fix if you have, I didn't use a Dremel, I used a pen vise, but if you have a proper tool to drill with, not a big deal at all. But if you're some kid building the thing that doesn't have a lot of tools, it could create an issue. You're going to either have to file down the pins or whack them off and just butt join it, which I don't recommend. But the easiest thing I found was just tap out the hole. So easily overcome. And I did a whole bunch of the stuff you've seen me do before, working on the chairs and everything. One of them, as I say, is going to be a movie set, just the interior piece, and I'm going to mock up the outside with stuff on it to make it look like a movie set. And then that shell will be used to make the external set. So both of them will be sets, and then one of them will just be like a real-life Star Trek Enterprise shuttle if it was a real thing. That one will have the command staff in it, and it's the one it's getting the better of all. Since I'm doing two of them, this one looks better than that one. The real shuttle gets the better looking part because
it would be a real vehicle. It should have to be in top shape. Whereas a movie set gets kicked around and a few blemishes, nobody cares. It's not like they really have to worry about a pressurization leak from a window seal, on a soundstage. But it is coming together. Now, a quick side note, I did something different today. I tried a little experiment that actually worked quite well. I got up this morning, wife and I had the breakfast, did the things we had to do, and then I didn't come here to the office. I went straight out to the Tarbis and started working and avoided that time suck because I get on the computer. Well, I don't think I have to explain what happens then. And so, as a result, I actually had a pretty productive day getting just stuff done. The next thing I did was I took the old Revell S kit that I had thrown together real quick out to the shed and dolled it up. And it kind of took on a life of its own. Now, one thing, this is the first time I had used this green Vallejo mask for the canopy. And I'd seen people using it online and it looked really good. It said shake lightly and I kept shaking it. Well, I wasn't getting the thick, syrupy green stuff. Mine was kind of watery, so I kept shaking it. I thought maybe it's just sat too long, shaking it. And I got it on there, but it just didn't look as thick as it should be. But I let it harden. Then I painted the model, and I went with a dark gloss blue. Remember, I'm not trying to make a super accurate model. I'm trying to make something along the lines of what you would have gotten from Topping or Precision Model, something that would look like a unit commander's model on his desk. So there's no rockets on it or anything. The wheels are up. It's up on the stand. It's glued to the stand. Of course, the decal placard that I tried to use it all broken up, which kind of adds a little bit of a sort of a faux patina to it. And I have to admit, the only colors I used were the gloss metal for the leading edge. I sprayed that on first, then masked that. Once that hardened, I masked that off and then shot it with the blue and then peeled the mask. And I gotta admit, I kind of like the way it looks. It looks, at least, for once, it looks as good as it did in my head. Of course, the decals are utterly destroyed, so I went to my spares, found stuff that would pass. Actually found some Cougar decals. Panther decals, which is a predecessor to the Cougar. Different, the same scale, but the Panthers were marked differently. So, and they don't actually, the Navy actually fit the little embossing perfectly. Well, when it was all said and done, and yes, that I know it says, a -5 on the tail. That was the decal, and it's actually a -9, but it's a big deal. So sue me. But the decals, except for it said Navy, didn't completely exactly fit the embossing they had. And I didn't want to waste time grinding down all that embossing. So this is a fun build, not getting in the weeds on it. But they did fit well enough, and I saw so many different paint jobs on the airplane. But I came up short 1 star, and I was like, well, I can cut one out. You know what? This thing's got those highly embossed markings on it. Let's see if I can hand paint a star. And it doesn't look perfect, but it's okay. It's certainly going to look fine sitting on the shelf. So when I was all done, I gloss coated it, and it's sitting out in the Tarbis. Unfortunately, when I tried to carve a little notch into the stand, it's got an old 3-prong style stand. When I tried to carve a little notch into it, I just gave it a little touch with the sprue cutter, just trying to cut a little notch. That was a bad idea because it just blew a chunk off. That old plastic was pretty brittle. Brilliant, Max. But so it's glued onto the stand, which is probably better anyway. You guys have seen from the other day how easy it falls off the stand. So now it's just hardening, and happy as a clam with it. I'll probably put it right here in the office on public display. So I also took the XV3 out. I have 2 of them, the Hobby Time kit that we talked about the other day. I think I'm going to go ahead and build one, and then the other will stay here in the collection. That'll make a nice little display of an interesting aircraft. And I might do it exactly the way it says in the instructions, but I should point out they only built 2 of those things, and the XV3, the one that you get in the kit, is the earlier version with the 3 bladed rotors. It had a lot of problems that actually eventually wound up crashing. There's a pretty good documentary about it out online, actually a couple of them. But the pilot wasn't killed, but he was injured. But they switched over a 2-bladed rotor and put a big fin underneath the bottom, and the second one flew a lot better. And it was, and yes, for those who, this was Bell. It did lead up through many iterations to the Osprey. Except this has the engine in the center with everything shafted. The Osprey, they put the engines on the tips. But Bell probably knows more about what I think they call technically powered lift, which we all think of as the Osprey type tilt rotor. We call it tilt rotor. I think the FAA, if you get a type certificate in one, I think it's classified as powered lift. But anyway, so yes, there is a direct line from the XV3 up to the Osprey. But the main thing is that the shuttlecrafts are my main focus right now, and they're going pretty well. But I have to go slow because, as you can gather, most of the time that is spent on this is waiting for glue and paint to dry, as is, most of our builds, I suppose. And I should point out where the colors are concerned, you get a lot of debate. I'm going with light gray over dark gray. Yeah, and you'll have people who are the experts, and they'll tell you, no, it's supposed to be white or this or that. It really varies because when they shot the shuttle in the TV show, just like a lot of people they argue about the color of the Enterprise. Is it white? Is it goose egg blue? Is it light gray? Because of the different lighting effects, the age of the film, a lot of things make it look different. So I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm doing very light gray over dark gray, and that's the way I'm going with it. So that's where we're at right now. What am I forgetting? Hold on just a second. Let me check. Yes, there was one more thing. There were these little hand-turned tiny drills. My wife asked me if I had a pen vise that was small for this tiny needle she had about the size of a hypodermic needle because she has to root hair and do all this other stuff. And I didn't have a pen vise that could get any smaller than hers, but I showed her. A glue trooper sent me this, and I said, oh, she fell in love with that box of little hand-turned drills. I may never see that again. But anyway, when you and your wife share a hobby, or close enough to sharing a hobby. Anyway, that is what I have for tonight. Guys, I'll talk to you later. You take care of yourselves, and as always, model on.